record. Okay, now we're recording. Anyway.
I'm leaving. Just kidding.
Anyway, if there are organizations out there that we frequent as individuals and we could see some value in our group being membership owners of it, I mean, you can pay for a group membership. Like I know that the zoo does a group membership. We're not really interested in gyms. I don't want to even deal with that. I'm thinking like nonprofits and stuff like that. The Discovery Museum offers a group membership for like $225, I think it was, Talvi. I think it was about $225. And, you know, it would get you as an organization access to the Discovery Museum. Now, I don't know that I'd say it's split. No, there's only a few of us with kids. Anyway, it could be an added perk if we see something that we like, bring it up to the group, because I like the idea of our group being, you know, rich with benefits while also supporting the organizations around here, you know. So I don't know if museums do it or different art galleries. You know, these are nonprofits where we can show our support by, you know, spending our club money on it, you know, because these will directly benefit us. And if we can draw from the same patrons of these kinds of places, you know, by being involved in events or going there, you know, and showing that the Humboldt Homebrewers are a part of the community, you know, maybe this is a way for us to, you know, commingle with a lot of the community. Similar to the Chamber of Commerce. Like we are all of us members of the Chamber of Commerce because we, you know, participate. They give us an honorary membership for the year, and you know, they ask, you know, just that we are involved. And luckily, there are some people involved with this club that are also involved with, you know, the Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, Talvi and Michael. You know, so I just want to put that out there, that this is something that I would like to see if there's any other interest or any other organizations out there that you all are a part of, that you might, you know, think about bringing us into the fold with. I saw Christina's hand up, so I'm going to go to Christina.
What about the Humboldt Botanical Society? Because they do like group classes and stuff, you know, times that are not COVID, but.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like something like that would be great. You know, if as an added membership benefit of you being a member of the Humboldt Homebrewers, you also get access to the botanical gardens, which are really cool. Yeah, I like that idea. Talvi, go ahead.
Can I propose that we create a group chat or online spreadsheet, or probably on the Facebook page, where everybody just suggests different nonprofits that they'd love a membership to for them and their families, that they'd love to see us be able to give it to, and then we can maybe at the beginning of the next fiscal year or right before then make a vote. So
yeah, so I'm hearing you want a way for us to collect people's submissions to have for a vote at a later date. Is that what you're thinking?
Yes, because I know there's a lot of nonprofits that every individual is part of, and that they can see a benefit giving membership to them. And it's kind of like with the donations, where it's great to get, we want to give everybody everything, and we not necessarily are able to do that, but so creating a list would then give us an itemized way to vote for that list as a club of who would benefit most from which group. And then we can create, you know, during the next fiscal year, we'd be like, this is who we're donating to and also getting a membership from. I can form that in a proposal.
I mean, yeah, form that into a solid idea of what you think could be helpful for us.
So
just think about that for a second. Think about that for a second. Hans had his hand up, so I'm going to go to Hans. They're just making sure.
Go ahead, because I was trying to figure. I was debating whether or not we actually needed a motion at all, or if we just wanted to appoint a committee to collect the data and then give it to us at the next meeting.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I would rather move this to a committee that, you know, does the legwork for collecting everything and is responsible for reporting back to us regarding specifically, you know, if we have any submissions for, you know, consideration. And I want to talk to Talvi more and listen to what you think, you know, how we can solidify that in terms of, you were saying who would benefit the most in terms of what? Like an organization, or you mean members?
Both. And I think that would be up to members. If we're doing it for membership benefits, that's one thing. If we're doing it to be altruistic, that's a whole nother thing. So I think it'd be creating a beneficial situation for both the other nonprofits as well as ourselves. So that's what I mean.
So you mean, you know, we need to keep these in separate lanes? Is that what you're referring to?
No, I think we need to mesh them.
Okay.
Because we want to donate, and I think we should to an extent. Like, and I know a lot of other people feel that one of the reasons for our club is we want to be able to help others, and I think we can also help the families of our members and the members ourselves, like being part of the chamber that can benefit those who are interested in business and whatnot. Being part of the Discovery Museum can help those with children. Being part of the botanical garden can help those who are interested in learning more about that sort of situation, a symbiotic relationship with other nonprofits in the area, where we actually donate the membership fee and get that membership.
Yeah, I don't know that we can consider it a donation of a membership fee in order to get that membership, but I feel like this would be a good avenue for us to not be consistently sitting on club funds, sitting unused. If we were to, you know, either rotate different memberships, you know, so that, yes, we are helping support these other organizations by being members. And I feel like, you know, a lot of these organizations that offer, you know, club memberships, so to speak, club memberships, you know, like if you pay for an organization, I feel like we're not going to be, you know, affecting their bottom line by, you know, using it as a group member benefit for like 30 people, you know. So I feel like this would be a good way for us to, I hate to say it, but it'd be a good way for us to assuage our guilt of raising money from events and stuff like that, but to also allow like a good way for us to funnel money into other organizations that we as members believe in, you know. But this also falls in line with, like, we had talked previously in other meetings, like if anyone wants to create like a perilous plunge team, or like a bowl for kids' sake, or what's the other one, the like dodgeball tournament, you know, like if any members want to like put together a team for those things, this I feel falls right in line with that kind of philosophy of what we should be doing with our member benefit, with our, you know, our membership money. So I just think that this could also, you know, fall under that umbrella of our altruism, but also our membership benefits, and also, you know, taking from what all of our other members are interested in, you know, and, you know, kind of ply our own members to say, what do you guys want memberships to, you know, is this feasible, is it not, you know. So what I'm hoping is that the committee can take those proposals, you know, gather the information, how much it is, if it's for a whole group, you know, fact finding, those kinds of things, and then come with a proposal for us to vote on at a future meeting, you know. So what I'm hoping to get out of this is, I would like to create a committee for membership benefits, a membership benefits committee to look into, what does the Discovery Museum call it? A group membership? An organizational membership?
I think it's different. I just thought Botanical Garden does a nonprofit organization membership.
Okay. Yeah, Talvi.
I know a lot of other people are interested in this. I'm really interested in this. It's fun for me to research what you can get, like the cost benefit analysis of all of this. So I'm willing to chair, but I know other people may be willing to chair or co-chair. But I'm down for it.
All right, well, I would like to move that we create a committee for membership benefits. And I would like to motion that we create that committee. Do I hear a second?
Seconded.
Okay, second. All right, third. All right, so it's been seconded. Would anyone like to, modify this movement, this motion? No. Would anyone like to talk about it? No. Okay, so all those in favor, please raise your hand or say aye. All those in favor of creating a committee for membership benefits. All right, all those opposed? All right, it passes unanimously. Now, I would like to also move that Talvi is the chair of this committee. Talvi, would you accept the nomination to be the chair of this membership benefits committee?
I would.
All right, can I hear a second? Kenny seconds. Thank you. All right, would anyone like to comment about this or amend? Kenny, yes, please.
I think this is a great idea. As you said, the club's been sitting on these funds for a while, and they're all funds that have been raised through previous fundraisers and stuff like that. I think it's a great idea that we do this and try to give back to the community. Specifically, as far as to some of the events, I think the Perilous Plunge has already happened this year, and Bowl for Kids' Sake is done as well. But that doesn't mean we can't plan for next year. So I think this is a great idea. I'm not sure what other community kind of competitions and games and stuff like that are happening throughout this year. But I think this is a great idea. Thank you guys for bringing it up. Thank you, Talvi, for volunteering to lead the committee. If there's anything I can do to help, just let me know.
Thank you, Kenny, for the positive feedback. Yes, Fazio.
Thank you for looking into that. I appreciate it very much. Discovery Museum thanks you guys in advance. But another thing we can look at as far as a club venue, and it's about personnel time, body time. These pack out green team events are starting to peak back up. And it'd be, there's two things you do. One, you donate prizes for the trash pickers. They always seem to have like $500 worth of coupons and stuff to give out to the participants on a random draw raffle. But if we show up, that's something we can donate to. But also if we put a couple t-shirts in there, meaning on our back as we pick up trash with the rest of the crowds in Eureka and or on the beach or McKinleyville, wherever they have these pack out green team events, it just puts our name out there again. And so something to think about in the future with the lifting of the COVID issues, I guess we can call it. But definitely there's a lot of trash pickups, and I think it's just a little tiny thing to put on a t-shirt and go pick up trash and represent the Humboldt Homebrewers, who is a community member.
Thank you, Fazio. Yeah, I greatly appreciate those sentiments.
That was more for Talvi to like maybe something else to look into.
Thank you for noting these things down, Hans. And we'll also be recording this video, which you can watch single speed, 1.5 times speed, or double speed if you don't have the time on YouTube. Thanks, guys. All right, so are there any other comments in favor or against making Talvi the chair of this committee? All right, well, let's move this to a vote. All those in favor of appointing Talvi to the chair of the membership benefits committee, say aye or raise your hand. All right, all those opposed? Talvi, I hope you're not opposed. All right, it passes unanimously. Thank you, Talvi. Talvi, how would you like to communicate with people to get help? You know, if you would like assistance, or if you want people to reach out to you saying that they are willing to lend their assistance, how would you like them to do that?
Through the Humboldt Homebrewers Gmail account or
Okay.
Facebook page. It seems to be the
Perfect.
best method. I mean, I'm already
Okay,
attached to
so
them.
we'll make sure to either tag you in a Facebook page, post, or comment, or just send email to the Humboldt Homebrewers at gmail.com email, and it will get to Talvi. Thank you to the officers for being on the email. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is not a one-man team or a one-woman team or one them team. Like, good job, everyone. I think we've been doing a pretty good job lately. All right, well, if there is nothing else regarding these membership benefits, I would like to move on to item 2. Is there anything else we'd like to add to this? Please, once again, contact Talvi or email the Humboldt Homebrewers web or email if you have an idea for a membership benefit that you are interested, or you know that there's availability of group memberships or something like that. Please email them to Talvi or tag her in a Facebook post or comment. Thanks. All right, on to item 2. FUCC Beer. All right, I'm really excited, and I am so impressed with Christina and Hans, both of y'all hustling your butts and getting everything going, and organizing it as best you could, because boy, did we try our best to really, throw wrenches into this entire thing. Not intentionally, it's just, everyone's got busy lives and everyone's got expectations or a lack thereof, or, hey man, I just want to brew and beer and share it with people, So Hans, I'll let you take it from here in terms of what's the verdict and who brewed which. I do want to preface it, but first, sorry, I do want to preface it. Is there anyone present who would not like to be revealed for which beer they brewed? Okay, I hope not. Cool. All right, Hans, take it away.
I was going to do this. Now I got to find my notes. So I need like 2 minutes to find my information.
Okay, we'll give it to you. Yeah, Kenny, go ahead.
So here's the thing. Nobody raised their hand, but if only one person raised their hand, everybody knows who the odd man or woman or person or them is. So I'm
way, man. There's at least 3 people not here who didn't.
Right. I appreciate, I got really quick feedback from Hans as far as a link to the score sheets. So thank you for scanning them and digitizing them. It is really good feedback, and I think it's good to keep the feedback personal, but the results can be public. So thank you guys very much for coordinating. The red file cabinet was awesome. It's a great idea, nice secure location. Thank you guys for getting this done.
Yeah. How many times did anyone drive past that driveway? I missed that driveway at least twice. Despite me being there like 3 times before that. It sneaks up on you.
Okay, so I have the information ready.
All right. So
if anybody doesn't want to have their beer talked about, I guess they've got the next 30 seconds to private message you.
Wait, what do you mean, Hans? I thought all we're revealing is the aggregate scores and the top 3, right?
Do we just want the top 3?
I say we just get the top 3 scores and what the scores were, and which beer. We won't reveal who it is yet.
Okay, for the top beer, number 2 took the win at a score of 39.87.
Nice.
That was the dark tropical stout.
Yeah, dark tropical stout.
Okay.
At number 2.
Wait, can we just talk about, is it okay if we, spend a minute or 2 just talking about that beer and what people's experiences were? Because I freaking enjoyed that beer. So good.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
I loved it. Yeah.
I love that beer. I want that recipe. Whoever brewed it, I want that dang recipe. I hope you'll be willing to provide it, whoever it was. Anyone else wanna? All right, I just had to gush about it. I just had to gush about that one.
I'm curious about the hops myself.
Oh yeah, Kenny.
I just to clarify, if the person that's associated with the beer would like to publicly acknowledge themselves, that's cool. Or how are we doing this? If people want to say, yeah, that's my beer, is that all right? Is that how we're doing this?
Yeah, what do we think? Yeah, right? I hope, yeah. Let's do it. Whose beer?
That's my beer. I didn't realize he muted me already.
Nice, Caitlin.
Yeah.
Good
I was
job.
super happy with it.
I'm drinking it right now.
Awesome.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I saved
So
the
good.
other half.
How many times have you brewed that, Caitlin?
That was the only, I've never even tasted a tropical stout.
Whoa. Damn. Good
Yeah.
job.
I got lucky.
Yeah, I would love, I mean, if you are at all willing, I would love that recipe.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
Awesome.
super excited to hear what everybody saw. I just barely got to look at the score sheets, but they were all pretty positive, so I'm stoked. And
Mm.
I did actually enter that one into another competition that's happening in the Bay Area. I don't know when the judging is.
I think this weekend.
Okay, maybe this
Woo.
weekend. So
How'd you get those fruity notes that come so fruit forward?
I think that's partially the yeast. It's a German ale yeast, the Y yeast 1007, and also it's the hops I got with Sultana, which is kind of pineapple-y.
Ooh,
And
nice.
I added Citra because there was no additional Sultana available to me, so I only had the 1 ounce, and I made a 10-gallon batch. So
Did you dry hop or flame out? Or?
no, it was just like flame out type of stuff. I think I'd have to look at my notes. I should have looked before the meeting. That would have been smart.
Hopefully you'll just post the recipe on Facebook, right?
Perhaps.
Yeah, I was super impressed by that one.
Thank you.
And also a style that I had been wanting to brew for a while, but just never got around to it.
Yeah.
All right, well, who came in second and what was their score? So Caitlin's aggregate score was 38, 30.
Her score was 39.87.
Dang, very good. Nice. All right, so who came in, I mean, not who, which beer came in second? And if they want to out themselves, go for it.
The beer that came in second was number 4 at 38.37.
Nice. Turns out it was Fazio. No, we don't know who that one was. Are they here? Is this person here?
What style beer was that? I don't have the key with me.
That was a, hold on, I've got it.
13C.
Thank you.
That was
13C.
the English porter.
Oh, okay.
Ah, English porter. Was that Sean? I bet it was Sean.
Am I allowed to say?
I mean, might as well. They're number 2, right?
Yeah,
Come on.
so that was Sean.
Good guess.
Nice.
It was an excellent beer.
Yeah. Porters are a funny little category that can really span quite a difference from one to another. And I think that's why I think we had 3 that ended up in the porter category during this. I mean,
I think
granted,
so, yeah.
2 pounds of chocolate, what are you really going to do with that? Yeah.
What was the aggregate score on that one?
On which one?
The one that you just talked about, number 4, Sean's beer.
38.37.
37.
Dang, that's a close one.
Well, I actually had to get down to the nitty gritty because number 3 was 38.25.
Dang.
Like, honestly, it was a pretty close race all in all for everybody, for the scores at least.
And what number beer came in third?
Number 6, sir.
That's my beer. I do have to say, I want to talk about some of the feedback that people gave me because I'm hoping that this could be a learning experience for all of y'all. Some people, their feedback on the beer was that it was either not roasty enough, it had an oddly sweet body, or it was under fermented, under attenuated, and possibly, definitely not, and I'll tell you why. The sweetness, this is something that I picked up from Dustin when he had talked about using maltodextrin in his beers to thicken them up. So I categorize it as a 20A, which is an American porter, which is usually roasty and bitter. But this one I did with a Belgian yeast just to see what the Belgian yeast did to it. Dried it out way too much. It gave it a very subtle, almost imperceptible Belgian character. And I was like, I wonder if it'll age out. The Belgian esters and phenols kind of just faded to the background, but the body was still completely thinned out. And I was like, crap, I don't really want to drink this. What am I going to do? So I added a pound of maltodextrin at kegging. So that is the sweetness and under attenuation that a lot of you guys picked up on in that feedback I read. I was like, hey, they're pretty good. They actually got it. Like, yeah, it's under attenuated because I added some unfermented sugars to it. So I want to applaud everyone who, commented about the fermentation, not being complete or it being too sweet. Good job. Good job. Anyway, that's my soapbox. Cool. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Good job. I don't know. Does anyone else want to out themselves as which number they were before we move on to the next subject? You don't have to. No.
I mean, sure, I was number 5 for what it's worth. I haven't looked at any of my scores.
What did you brew?
It was an American brown ale. So yeah.
American brown ale.
We had one of those? Ale. It's a brown ale. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was delicious, by the way. I like that brown ale. That's something I could think of, like if I went to like a European bar and I wanted to sit down and watch a soccer match, like that's the beer I'd be drinking all night long.
That's basically.
Anyway, I hope you read your feedback, Matt. Should be
good. And I'm sorry that I didn't provide feedback to everybody. I didn't get my beers, pick them up until Monday, and I couldn't make it through all of them until today.
Ben, whenever you get it, if you want to either email it to me, I can get it out to everybody.
Too late, he drank them all. No, just kidding.
I did drink. I mean, honestly, I drank 2, 3, and 5 so far, and like those are all amazing.
Nice. And just as a reminder, feedback wasn't a compulsory requirement. It was kind of in the spirit of it. How we usually share our feedback in meetings when we taste a beer. It's kind of in the same vein, but it is great practice for those who are interested in judging and who want to give good detailed feedback with a nice, rigid,
Yeah, I felt like it was a really good educational experience. I haven't really had much opportunity, or never took the opportunity, I guess, to do much in the way of trying to sit down and really think about the flavors of the beer versus the style and try and put it into words and scores. So it's challenging, and I felt like it was just a really nice educational opportunity that we could do at home, but still kind of together.
I thought it was great to get to try other things too. Like we were just saying, I've never ever had or even knew about a tropical stout. So
yeah, I just happened upon it.
Kenny, what were you going to say?
I personally kind of found myself being overly critical at times. Yeah, surprise. So I kind of wanted to piggyback on what Caitlin was saying. I found myself trying to separate the fact that I know who brewed these things, not necessarily which one people brewed, but I know these people, but trying to be objective about the judging. And so trying to figure out like yeah, is this inside or outside the style? And so I found myself being more critical than I usually am. And you know, my beer, I wasn't real happy with it. I did it kind of last minute. I think it's gonna age really well. Hopefully, it's gonna sit around for a minute. But the challenges for this FUCC were multiple factors. So I'm glad we finally are bringing this to an end. And thank you guys for getting all the score sheets out.
Yeah, once again, thank you, Hans and Christina. Matt, go ahead.
I just want to jump in on one more thing with all of it. So since we ended up using the BJCP sort of,
Guidelines,
valuation
style.
sheets and all that stuff. And so then that kind of like forced us into using the style guide, which is great. I don't think that we did a good job as a group making sure that everybody understood what that meant. So like I found myself with a few of the beers where it had like a beer name, but which was kind of like denoting style, but it didn't really put it squarely in a category or subcategory. So it was like damn near impossible to really like be constructive in any way with like feedback, you know what I mean? So I think that's like on us as a group. If we're going to do it again, we should do a better job of, if we're going to make it BJCP, we need to sort of like outline like what that actually means for folks who haven't been involved before or don't know, you know what I mean? So yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. We do need more vision for the next one, more specific expectations as well, and instructions. Oh, we know it. We know it, right? Christina and then Hans.
She's raising her hand for me. I was going to say next time, if we decide to do this, like one of the things I wanted to do is put all those forms into a Google form so everybody can just fill it out online instead of having to drop off paperwork.
Yeah, I agree. Although I do have to say the sheets, the paper things, I think it's very helpful to have. Well, I guess that could be built into the sheet anyway. Never mind.
Well, another thing that we could do is like, if we're going to sort of formalize it in some way, we could actually use like our software that we have that we run bottle competitions with, so that people could like enter them that way. They can print out their own labels and affix them, and then, get score sheets and then send them in, and somebody can scan them in and they all go into the system attached to people's entries. That's like how we did the last kind of
the actual bottle competition.
Yeah, so we could, if we're going to do it around all these guidelines, we can totally do that. Yeah.
I see. Yeah. The one thing I'm curious about, Matt, before we get to Christina, is does the judging software allow you to input score sheets into it to distribute, or is that all on the?
Yeah, you can scan them in. So if you have a scanner, you can scan
and they do store them. Or
you can take a photo with a phone and get them onto a computer and then upload them. Then it's just like attached to the person's. It's cool. Kind of complicated, but I did it because
it's a little more self-serve. It's a little more self-serve, right? Where if people wanted their score sheets, they would have to go to the web server and log in. And okay, cool. So I guess what we did is more shooting from the hip, and a good approximation. And I'm impressed that we even pulled this off. And by we, I mean Hans and Christina and all the brewers who like got their butts to Eureka and turned things in and then went and picked them up. Good job. Christina, I'm going to stop talking. You had a question or a comment.
I was just thinking about what Matt was saying about using that software. I personally find competitions and doing competitions and entering them and the whole process really intimidating. Maybe it's because I'm new to it, but maybe that would be a good way of sort of bridging that gap and making it a comfortable process that isn't new and scary, and especially for new brewers, and us talking about trying to get more members.
Yeah, I think that would be a great. In terms of getting new members, outreach, that seems like we may need to do just a regional bottle competition. I knew Matt would go, what? Anyway, no, but I do agree. It would benefit people who are interested in entering bottle competitions who are unfamiliar, and it is intimidating because It's a totally different interface than most anything we do. I like the idea, and I'm hoping we can talk about that later for the next time we come up with an idea to share beer, you know, where we all brew and then share it, which I hope we will do soon. But I would like to conclude this FUCC Beer discussion so we can move on to the next two before we get to Rick. First off, I want to welcome Rick from Port of Pints. Thank you, Pete, for being in contact with Rick and getting him in here. I understand if he's not, you know, by the computer, but I just want to say, like, welcome. All right, so we've got two more pieces to talk about. We have announcements and Big Brew Day. I'm excited for Big Brew Day, and I'm also excited for the announcements. So at our last meeting, we voted and agreed and got through some motions. Congratulations, we did a great job last meeting, and I think we're doing even better this meeting. Our press release went out yesterday to all of the major press release receiving functionaries. Compliments of Mr. Kenny, who luckily collected all of these contact informations 2 years ago, and 90% of them are still up to date. Heck yeah. Thank you to Talvi and Pete for collaborating on a press release to send out to all of these people. And this is in regards to our donations to Food for People and the Redwood Discovery Museum. We donated $300 to both of those organizations. And we sent a press release to the local press, and they should both be in transit to the organizations currently. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. Thank you, Ben, for helping to make that happen. Does anyone have any input or want to say anything about that before we move on to the fourth thing, which is Big Brew Day? Awesome. Thank you for helping to make this meeting. Right. I think that's a clapping, not a raised hand. Thank you, Matt. All right, yeah, good job. 3A, thank you cards. So last meeting, we had also talked about sending out thank you cards to the businesses that usually we go begging for donations to every year. But this year, instead of asking for a donation, we sent them a thank you card. Thank you, somebody, Mr. Someone, I'm hoping it was, I think it's Talvi, who collected all of the names of the businesses and also got the mailing addresses. Yes, Talvi.
The businesses were already listed. I believe that was probably Kenny who created the list of the businesses that we had both been part of and had a cross collaboration with, as well as that I just added the addresses and contact information to the list.
Heck yeah, I love this synergistic, you know, collaboration that all of us are going through, despite us, you know, being on lockdown and, you know, going on with our daily lives. I love it. I'm grateful for all of this happening. Thank you, Chrissy, for not only buying the thank you cards and the stamps and the envelopes, but also writing the thank you cards and sticking them in the mail. Thank you, Chrissy. Do you want to say anything about how it went? You know, did you seal each one with a wax imprint or a sticker?
I did not, but it makes you realize how little you actually write stuff these days, because I type everything. I felt like I was back in school cramping up after writing all of those, but it was fun. I'm glad I did it. I hope they like them.
Did you write any letters to friends after that? Like, oh, dang, I do actually enjoy writing.
Nope.
Ah, dang. Okay, well, there goes that inspiration.
Give me a month.
You still have all 10 fingers though, right?
Oh, crap. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Someone got
Thank you. I hope that our thank yous are well received and they're not like, who the hell is the Humboldt Homebrewers?
What do they want?
What do they want? Oh, great. Is this another donation? Anyway, all right. Well, that is 3 and 3A. Oh, there goes my light. I'm going on to number 4, Big Brew Day. Big Brew Day. I'm so excited. Kenny, do you know the exact date?
Saturday, May 1st, I do believe.
What? It's the same as last year. Anyway, it is May Oh, really? It's the first Saturday of the month, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first Saturday of May. May 1st, yeah. Shoot. Cool. So Big Brew Day. Historically, we have done a big brew at the shop or in some random parking lot or at some cool brewery. Jay, what's your most fond Big Brew Day memory?
I think it was at the shop prior to Kenny's ownership. I think we had like 14, 12. We had a lot of people in there.
Burritos.
It was the La Barca truck, or the
And the La Barca truck was there, correct, Chrissy? That was pretty good. I think we brewed like at least 50 gallons in the roll up.
Is that the one where
I
we
do
melted the
remember a
floor?
lot of work afterwards to clean up. It was a long day for everybody, but it was well worth it. It was good. It was the year that the Nelson Pale Ale was on, because I still brew that beer to this day.
Wow.
That was pretty awesome. I did burn my toes because I wore the wrong shoes. The breathable running shoes and boiling water don't go together.
Duly noted. So this year's, so was that Nelson recipe part of the AHA, the American Homebrewers Association recipe pack that year?
Yes, sir, it was. I was one of two. I think the other one was like a stout recipe, and it was part of the, I want to say 2016, maybe.
Nice.
Somewhere, maybe 15.
I was actually glancing at pictures on the Facebook page, and it said 6 years ago. So whatever 6 years ago was.
15.
15.
Right?
Yeah.
It was a good one. I think Pete rolled up with his little kerosene or white gas stove, and he took a bunch of second runnings and had roasted rosemary and I think he had yarrow for bittering. It was pretty awesome. Pete brewed a good beer that day too. I remember tasting it.
Nice. Well, thanks for sharing, and thanks for letting me pick on you. I want to talk about this year's recipes, which they released recently. So this year's Big Brew recipes, I'm going to share my screen so you can see it. In memory of Mike Tasty McDowell, RIP, he passed away this last year, is Janet's Brown Ale is one of the two recipes. If you've never brewed a brown ale before, this was one of the second brown ales I've ever brewed, and it's classic. The hop combo is really classic with Northern Brew and Cascade Centennial. It helps you learn to be deft with a really like 350L chocolate malt in a brown. You know, a lot of people can overdo the roast character. Highly recommend it. Big Brew Day. Second is a Stargazer Hazy Double IPA. I wish that I could remember people's names better, because there was the father-in-law and the son-in-law that would come to the club meetings. I am terrible with names. That the first beer, or I think it was the second beer they tried to brew, was a double IPA. And double IPAs are notoriously difficult to brew because a lot of people don't water them down. I mean, water them down with corn sugar instead of just going all grain or all liquid malt extract. So this is another recipe that I think, ups a lot of people's personal brewing game, because these are not recipes that are, for most of us, very familiar. Rick, welcome. It's good to see you. I mean, hear you.
Yeah, I don't even know how to do Zoom. I really don't. I don't even know how you get your face up there.
That's all right. Are you on a phone or a computer?
I'm on a phone.
Nice. So if you tap on the screen just once, down at the bottom left, if your phone has a camera, it will show you a little video camera icon that says video, or it might have an X through it, or a little red line through it.
Got it. There we are.
There he is. The man himself of the hour.
Hey,
Cool.
thanks for the invite.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here, and thanks for jumping on here. If you don't mind, we're just gonna spend the next like 2 to 3 minutes talking, and then we're going to move on to your section, if you don't
Sounds
mind.
good.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Rick.
sounds
I
good.
appreciate it.
Mhm.
I also don't want to, go over the grand welcome because I'm excited to have you. So anyway, Big Brew Day. This year, May, it's a Saturday. It's the first Saturday in May. It is now March. So we have basically one full, no, March, April. We have 2 full months to plan this sucker out. So I'm, 2 months to commit, basically. I really want a Big Brew Day myself. I mean, I'm going to be brewing that day regardless of where it's going to happen, due to social distancing guidelines and the health department having recommendations. It was probably unwise of us to, brew in everyone's garage individually. I mean, as a group or, at the shop, which not that Kenny invited us or anything, but I'm just saying, as a club, it might be irresponsible for us to do that. So I want to hear ideas of what we can do as a club to big brew separate but together. Does anyone have any ideas about it? Maybe if we say, I'm going to brew this recipe, I'm going to brew that recipe, and I can commit some beers to trade and see how similar or different they came out.
I think we should have burritos.
Thank you, Tavi, for making me hungry. Anyone else have any other input regarding Big Brew Day? Yes, Kenny, thank you for joining us.
There's been a couple of comments, Hodge, and I think Foz just mentioned doing a Zoom brew. There's also social media that the club could use through the PR, either Instagram or Facebook Live. That could be something that the club can do. There are ways to kind of connect. The shop is in no condition right now to have anybody in it, and I haven't had anybody in there since April of last year. So the space will be unavailable, but I highly recommend trying to brew something this year. Big Brew is a fantastic time. It's a time where there's I think last year there was 7,000 brewers that signed up or something for last year's event. So all throughout the world, it's a great day to just kind of have fun and brew something. And Janet's Brown Ale is a fantastic recipe. I'll probably be brewing that myself in honor of Tasty, who he's a big influence on a lot of homebrewers, not only here in California, the Bay Area, but across the country and across the world. So the other one seems the Stargazer seems to be a really cool hazy double IPA almost. So I think that would be a really fantastic recipe too. But Facebook Live, Instagram Live, Zoom, I think there's ways to do it.
Yeah, I agree. Weather is kind of weather is so variable around here, especially during the shoulder season of spring to summer. I feel like May, you never know if it's going to rain. So I feel like us banking on an outdoor thing is not the best for us. Dalvi, I'll get to you in just 1 minute. I want to ask Kenny a specific question is, have you ever had Polaris or Zamba in the shop before? I've never even heard of these hops.
I haven't seen it available from my vendors, but that doesn't mean it's not there. I just ran across these recipes the other day and haven't had a chance to research.
Yeah,
so.
They just came out last week, I think.
Yeah,
because I was looking and they just weren't there yet.
My guess is based on the sponsors of the event, there is a possibility that the local homebrew shop could probably source these. But I'll do some research and get back to y'all later on that.
Okay, cool. So I do really like the idea of Facebook Live because you can bring other people's cameras into it and it could be public facing. So we could bring more people into the fold if we want to push this as a recruitment event, which we do, in my opinion. anyone who's sitting at home bored, especially on a weekend, if they see someone brewing beer, they're like, oh, well, I might be interested in that. I might be able to see the process. So I think that might be a good avenue for us to pursue. And we've got a page, an official Humboldt Homebrewers group page, as well as a Facebook group. Those are separate things. And I believe, one affords us a little more levity for creating events and sharing video. Talvi, you had something to add.
I wanted to kind of reiterate Christina's point. She put it in the chat, which was there are ways to socially distance brew in a group, which I'm going to bring something up during the topic of happy hour for next time. That's a similar scenario where we can gather as long as we are distant. And there are venues available in Humboldt County that would allow that sort of scenario. So it's something to think about, that we can actually do that in person as long as we keep our distance from each other in family groups instead of as a club group. But it would make, say, having a videographer easier if we were all brewing and being like, hey, we're doing this. This is the fun that we have, sort of thing.
Cool.
Thank you, Christina, for bringing that up, because yes, we can do that.
Yeah, I agree. All right. I would like to, continue the conversation of this big brew day online with more input, and where you can see people's opinions on it, and who can commit to brew to it. Talvi, do you think you can create a post on our Facebook page, our Facebook group,
I am going to
stating, big brew day, and if you can pull some of the resources from the American Homebrewers Association, like they have a whole press packet, kind of thing, where it adds the recipes and say, oh, these are the recipes for the year. Who wants to brew this year? Do you want to brew it digitally? How do you think about Facebook Live?
Yes, no, I can totally do that. I'm curious because the BCJ, whatever, had they just released 4 new beers as well. That may be a different conversation, but I don't know.
Definitely a different conversation.
Okay, I don't know if those have anything to do with it, but that's something that's probably for a happy hour conversation. Okay.
Yeah, that's a happy
totally
hour.
No, for sure. But yes, I can do this.
Awesome. Thank you, Talvi. All right. Well, that does it for business for us, other than, let me share my screen really quick so you can see where we're at. And then we're going to move on to Rick from Porta Pints. So we've hit club membership benefits, FUCC Beer, Redwood Discovery Museum announcement with Food for People, Big Brew Day, thank you cards. Now we are on to the fun part. Good job, everyone, for moving through this. I think we can do better about getting faster, but I feel like we also had really good conversations and good ideas. So I don't want to discount that. Awesome. Thank you all for being here. Rick, I want to first have a warm welcome from all of the Humboldt Homebrewers. We see you at so many events around here, not currently, but in the past, we've definitely seen you supporting a lot of the beer events down here. And I'm going to stop sharing so we can actually see your face, and I'm going to pin you so when you're talking, people can actually see you. Rick, welcome. First off, tell us a little bit about Porta Pints and what your personal philosophy is for brewing beer.
Well, we're kind of tiny, seven barrel system. We just recently put on a 1 barrel pilot system.
How long have you guys been up there?
We opened in November of 2015, and we've been we always try to keep 19 beers on tap plus kombucha and my homemade root beer and then a cider of some sort.
Nice. Well, tell us a little bit about your brewery. Wax poetic about it. Give us your passion.
We got the Smith River water up here, and which is like perfect water for Belgian beers. It's very neutral and works great for our Belgians. I know of home brewing roots. I was listening on your competition notes, and the different things that he had to say that way. And it's been, you know, I try to stay really tied to the homebrew community, but it's almost non-existent up here. But I try to entice people in with, you know, a lot of the old world styles, as well as always trying to keep a new trendy beer on as well.
Nice. So if you could brew one beer for all eternity, which of your beers would it be? I mean, not brew, but I mean, drink. You know, which of your beers would you drink for your desert?
Oh gosh, you know, so much depends on the weather and my mood. You know, I don't know. I think if I had to pick one, it'd be Belgian triple.
Nice. Yeah, well, you're receiving quite a few thumbs up from some of the people in here. Yeah, Belgian triple. Holy moly.
Yeah.
Holy moly. So we also have a question from Tavi. She said, can you give us a tour? I mean, just of like the brewing area first, since it looks like you're right by your mash tun.
Oh yeah.
If you don't mind.
Behind me there, you know, I'm sitting on the steps, and we got the kettle, and
you said it's a 7-barrel?
Yeah, and then on this side, you know, it was always a big thing for me to see my brew deck has a pirate ship.
That is freaking amazing.
You got to have a pirate ship, but how can you not have a pirate ship? so we're pirates here around the brewery. There's a lot of piratey kind of things, and then down, you know, we have 3 15-barrel fermenters and 4 7-barrel fermenters. And then we have over here, we got a couple of brights, 7-barrel bright and a 15-barrel bright.
Do you serve directly from your bright tanks, or do you go into packaging from there?
No, we had serving tanks we used for a while, and I actually went back to kegs, especially during the COVID thing. It was, you know, we started doing smaller batches and things, and just got away from the serving tank thing. So they're actually setting in storage.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard similar things from a lot of people basically saying, we used to do it in serving tanks, and then we decided to put it into kegs because it was more convenient and easier to cellar, you know.
Yeah, and then if all your beer is in a serving tank, and then somebody wants a keg, of course. So.
Yeah. Awesome. So what are some of your flagship beers that you guys have up there? Like, what goes into your larger fermenters typically?
Well, you know, we haven't done double batches for a year, but so we've been putting, usually if we utilize a 15-barrel fermenter, it's basically to utilize headspace and push more barrels. Because I can fit a little over 9 barrels in my kettle, so we'll go that route. And
wow.
So it's, you know, so anything that's a little more crazy in the ferment, like say a German Hefeweizen, or even any bigger beer, that we just utilize that headspace. It's kind of crazy on the Belgians. I use an 1.5-inch blow off, and that blow off is sitting in only about 1 inch of water, so that I can have just minimal head pressure. Just really cut that down, and then I, you know, just let them rip. I don't even use cooling for the first part, so I can get them up there around 84 degrees and get them really ripping and get all the esters in there.
Nice. Have you ever had to like forcefully heat one of those?
Luckily I haven't had to do that. Boy, if you hold them back at all, especially, you know, I have an unheated brewery. If you hold them back at all, you might not get up there where you want to be. So I tend to let them rip until I see that the yeast is really taking over, and then I'll go ahead and put some glycol to them, cool them off a little bit.
Nice. So how does how does the Irish pub tie into you guys? You know, how does that turn? How does a pirate turn into an Irish pub?
We're yeah, that's what we call ourselves, Irish pirates. And so it comes from heritage, family heritage, and you know.
How does that translate to some of your beers?
We always do try to keep on Irish stout and Irish red. We just today brewed a Irish black lager, and we try to stay that way. And I'll do some Scottish beers as well. Wait, I forget where we're at now for recipes. Around 65, I think.
Oh my gosh!
Now with the new pilot, we'll well go past that. We'll get up over 100 because we'll start really turning them out. We're trying to turn one out every 2 weeks. So.
Nice. I mean, are you willing to tell us about some of the recipes you're excited to let rip on your pilot system? Because I know experimentation is something as a home brewer, you know, is the fun of it.
Yeah, we're just getting going with that. This system actually belonged to Rumiano Cheese Company at one time.
What?
Yeah, they were looking at getting into brewing at one point. And they're big fans of Belgians. And they've got an amazing dry jack cheese that goes great with Belgian beers. I right now have a Belgian dark strong and a triple on.
Wow. I think that it is impressive for any brewery to have a beer that's, you know, over 8% as a staple, you know, like that is impressive. What's your triple clocking at?
The triple's at right at 10, and the dark strong's at 8.5. And you know, a couple of years back, I talked to Abe down there at Humboldt Distilling, see if he had any barrels. And what we ended up doing is he had 4 barrels. They all had whiskey in for 4 years. There was 120 proof in there. And so when those barrels were available, we filled them with Belgian triple. And, you know, I just put them away and let them go for 30 months. And then that came out, and they're pretty nice. I never thought about doing a Belgian in whiskey barrels, but I'm really pretty proud of that one. We ended up we just got a silver at the US Open with that.
Wow. What's your barrel program look like? I mean, do you just have those couple of barrels, or are you planning on expanding that?
We're about 20 wood barrels.
20. Can you see them from where you're sitting?
No, I keep them in a warehouse back in a corner that really gets no heat throughout the year. It's a dark space, and it works out great for us.
Nice.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Not to, you know, inquire for you know, these specialized logistical things, but as homebrewers, you know, everyone kind of aspires to, you know, have that little tucked back brewery that they can, you know, dabble at and have fun with, but, you know, getting serious into the business aspect of it is kind of overpowering. But what's it like to, you know, have a brewery where you have a facility, but then to want to, you know, tuck some of it away into a cellar elsewhere? Is there anything special that you need to do for that? You know, because your brewing facility is really the food safe area, right? So storage offsite is kind of like whatever.
Warehousing, yeah.
Warehousing.
But my warehouse in the past was the Coors distribution point for Crescent City. And it's owned by Craig Peroni of Del Rica Distributing. He gives me a great rate. He's very supportive. So it works out that I didn't need quite as much cold storage. I partitioned it off so I can have enough cold storage for about 400 kegs. And then the rest of it, I can just have, I keep some items I don't want people just wandering off with, or all my barrels are stacked in there. And I got all my racks. You can get great price on racks from down there at the the winery in Trinidad.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's our closest winery.
Moonstone?
Septentrino?
No.
No, Trinidad's Moonstone, I thought.
Moonstone, yeah.
Moonstone Crossing.
Moonstone Crossing. That's where I get my racks for the barrels. Yeah, he lets them go cheap. If anybody, if you want to do like rack up some for the club, I'm sure he'd let them go for cheap.
Nice. Hey, we've got a question from one of our members, Jay Fazio. Jay, go ahead. Oh, you just muted yourself, Jay. I'm Jay, come on, man. You're muted. You need to unmute yourself. You need to click the button to unmute yourself. There you go.
Rick, thank you. Your spot is it's unbelievably small from the street.
Yeah.
So I was just there 2 weeks ago when the slide went down. I spent 4 hours in your pub waiting for the slide to open. I appreciate your 19 beers on tap. So thank you very much. But I'm amazed how many beers you make, and yet you have the storage. You kind of answered that question already, but how do you keep the rotation of fresh beers coming in through the shop?
I tell you, it's been tough. This time of year has really been tough. Luckily, we've been able to. We kind of did what Six Rivers did, was start selling beer cheap. We gotta move that beer because it's no fun to not brew.
Yeah, amen to that.
Excellent. I also want to give you kudos to your pretzels. You make awesome pretzels with beer cheese. If anybody hasn't had it yet, get there. You're number one. Six Rivers is a distant second. Just let you know.
Yeah, that down there, Carlos and I, we're good friends. We helped each other turn 60 years old, and we have kind of I told him that I'm still going to be paddle mashing at 67, and he says that's not enough. He's going to 70. So, we'll see.
Oh yeah, and Christina said, "Oh yeah, that beer cheese down there is phenomenal." I would have to agree. I stopped in for like a taster and a beer cheese pretzel, and it was freaking great.
Thanks. Yeah, we have a tiny kitchen, but we do what we can with it.
Nice. Was that part of your initial plan when you started the pub? Did you always have the vision of having like a small kitchen attached, or was it kind of like, well, it makes permitting easier?
Yeah. Actually, my business plan was actually part of my home brew obsession. In addition to home brewing, I always thought, I think I'm gonna do this business plan and maybe someday it'll happen. And when we moved to Crescent City, it was to do a bed and breakfast. It had nothing to do with a brewery. And even though I was head production brewer at Great Basin in Reno, this was kind of, things weren't working out for us. So we thought, we're going to try a brewery. And I had this business plan, and I'm willing to share many parts of that with folks that would like to open a brewery. Any of you folks, but I entertain that as kind of a little hobby, as well as actually brewing is like what a business plan would look like. And that was part of my business plan, to have a kitchen. But I was after just some fresh sandwiches and a pint. That was it, and it's kind of grown from there, and with some resistance from me, but people are liking it.
Nice. Would you mind talking a little bit about how you got started into brewing? No, like not necessarily commercial brewing, but how did you get started into home brewing, and like what pushed you in the direction of moving into commercial?
Oh, well, home brewing, I always wanted to do it, and then one day somebody invited me over and I brewed, and then my wife got me a Mr. Beer kit, and and then it just spiraled into some obsession that just was way out of control, and I took over the kitchen, and pretty soon I was kicked out of the kitchen. I had to brew outside. So, but I started back in, and I started getting an interest around 2000, 2002. I started brewing pretty heavy, and
this was in the Reno area?
Yeah, well, I was brewing there, and then home brewing there, and then my wife took a job up in Missoula, Montana, and the Zoo City Zymergists up there, they're super active. And I'd have those guys over. We'd have a party of like 25 guys. We did like instead of a party guile, we did a triple party guile, and we did all kinds of crazy things. Those guys are very active and creative. I was with them, and at the same time, I was trying to break into the commercial side. Well, we ended up going back to Reno, and I jumped on the canning and bottling lines at Great Basin. And my background's project management and architecture. And, but I was getting on in life, and there was no way I was going to have a brewery if I didn't get moving. And so as I would travel back and forth to Vegas every week, and Dave Otto at the time was at Big Dogs in Las Vegas. He said, "You come in here every Tuesday night and you'll brew beer with me, and I'm going to show you what you need," because he knew I wanted to go to Siebel. And he said, "Don't spend that money. I'm going to teach you what you need to know." And then, of course, now Dave's moved on to PTs, and now Dave Pasquale is at Big Dogs, and he's killing it with his Belgians. And those guys have been up here to check me out. And so eventually I got off that bottling and canning line at Great Basin and worked my way through becoming a head production brewer. And in the first starting of brewing, I would mash in at 4 a.m., 8 a.m., and noon. And then another brewer would come in and he'd mash in again at 4 in the afternoon. So, and actually when we opened our brewery here in Crescent City, we opened on a Thursday night. Friday morning, the owners of Great Basin showed up. They they just took over. They said, "We're going to show you how it's done." And, it was just, I mean, it's priceless what they did for us. Get us open. Saturday morning, they set us down with these big lists and said, "This is everything you're never going to do again. These are the things we want you to start doing, and these are the things we think you maybe got a handle on." So it was great advice.
Wow, that is a great origin story. I don't know if you know this, Rick, but that is a great origin story because it has the like home brewer beginnings, the Mr. Beer starting kit. Like, I can't say how many of us, I mean, just out of curiosity, raise your hand, everyone, if you have brewed on a Mr. Brew kit. It doesn't have to be like the start, but if you have brewed on a Mr. Beer kit, raise your hand. Like, I'm really curious. Don't be ashamed. Like, everyone, a lot of people started like that. I guess it's less than I guess it's just the older ones. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. But yeah, Mr. Beer like introduced so many people to it. But I mean, having that passion to want to brew commercially, what do you think has been driving you to brew commercially? I mean, of course, there's the drinking aspect, which, imbibe responsibly, but what gets you riled up? What really, feeds that flame for you?
Well, early on I was in the military, in the Army. And while I was in there, education's free, pretty much free if you just want to take advantage of it. And so, of course, all that beer that I ran across in Germany, I lived there 3.5 years, was great. And in addition to that, while I was taking these college courses, I really didn't like the college courses they had available. So all my electives are art. I've always been really involved in art. I need a creative outlet. And I think that's really what pulled me into this. But first of all, loving the beer, and then combining that with a creative outlet. And I think that's kind of what drew me into it.
Yeah, amen to that. I mean, anyone else, this, for me, this is my creative outlet. I can't paint worth a damn. I can't draw worth a damn. You don't want to see me dance, but brewing beer, I feel like a lot of our members can identify with that. This is great. Fazio, yeah, what's up, man?
So, speaking of art, you collaborated with a couple of beers with Fog Belt Clothing Company. Can you tell us about that? I
Oh,
really
yeah.
enjoy their artwork.
Oh,
And
yeah,
so
Fog,
I'm waiting for an awesome sweatshirt to come out.
yeah, it's Fog Bank, and they actually have some artwork for us. You know, I do the artwork for our shirts and things, but Fog Bank, it's kind of a funny story. We have this flight that goes out of Medford to Vegas, and I happen to have a daughter that lives in Vegas. And so we're going down there for a long weekend. Well, all the guys from Fog Bank are across the aisle from me. And, you know, this is pre-COVID, so we're hitting the beers pretty good on that flight. I
The
guess
1 hour flight.
if you could call them beers. Yeah. And then these guys said, well, when are you naming a beer after our clothing company? So now they have artwork put together for us. I guess we're gonna do some sweatshirts or something through them.
Nice.
So
What is Fog Belt? Fazio, what are you talking about? Is there a clothing company?
Yeah, it's like Humboldt Clothing Company.
Oh,
Very
gotcha.
Same thing. And we do have a beer, you know, that our juicy hazy is called Fog Bank.
Fog Bank. Okay. Nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
we all love the Fog Banks.
Well, it's same down there, I guess. You know, those summer mornings. You know, it's just coastal fog. We're kind of out in the ocean up here, so it can get a little thick.
Love it. Well, hey, I'm done, you know, plying your brain. I figure there are lots of people here who, you know, have questions for you. So I'm going to turn it over to our members. Fazio, thanks for butting in when you've felt the need to, which, hey, I encourage it. I'm a one-man monologuer, question interviewer. I mean, I enjoy it, but
yeah.
Does anyone have any questions?
I invite all you folks to come up here, and you know, I can spend some time one-on-one anytime. You know, just tell them to track me down.
All right. Thanks for the invitation, Rick. We really appreciate that. You know, having that homebrew community, and you know, throwing out the invitation is really all it takes for a lot of us.
That's one thing that I really didn't mention is one of the real draws to brewing for me is the camaraderie and how brewers are willing to reach out and help each other with constructive criticism, with, you know, great advice along the way. It's just a community that's like no other.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Have you ever been to one of the American Homebrewer Association's homebrew cons?
I have not.
Okay. Have you been to Kenny, where did you go? Where did you go as part of the Pro-Am?
GABF.
GABF.
Yeah, first one I went there, I remember the winning beer was it was a rye IPA, wet hop. It was called Ride Hard and Put Away Wet. And that, you know, and that kind of got me interested in that. I've tried to talk people into doing a Pro-Am. I wanted to do Pro-Am back in the day, and I haven't really got interested. Any of you want to do
Rick? Oh, Rick. All right, dude. We got to run a competition with you as the judge. I mean, yeah. So, Kenny, I want you to talk about your experience with the Pro-Ams, because Kenny's got some darn experience with Pro-Ams.
So 2017 was a really fantastic year. I got some really amazing opportunities only because I took a chance and entered some beers into a competition. One of them happened to be a local competition put on by Eel River. Unfortunately, there were only 7 entries. Mine was best out of 7, and it was a German Rogan beer, a German rye. And I was very fortunate to be able to go down to the Fortuna Brew Pub and be able to brew that on a 10-barrel system with Matt down there. And they were absolutely amazing. Eel River gave me an opportunity to go to GABF, and we entered that into the Pro-Am division of GABF in 2017. And it was just a phenomenal experience. Flew out to Denver, got to hang out. I hung out with Vinny, and we hung out with Brennan from what's that, Moylan's, and really had just a fantastic time. We didn't place, but we made it to the second round of judging. Just to be there was a phenomenal opportunity, and the fact that I had that club name right next to me was one of the best experiences I've ever had. I've had other opportunities with Sierra Nevada. Once again, just entering a competition. Got a chance to brew with Sierra in 2017 as well. Caitlin and I have recently entered a Pro-Am competition with Del Cielo down in Martinez. And Rick, I'm not sure if you remember, but I met you at Hoptoberfest in Blue Lake.
Oh yeah.
A couple of years ago. And you had mentioned that you would love to have some homebrewers up there for a Pro-Am type of brew. And it's really great to see you here this evening. Thank you very much for being a part of this meeting. And, I think it'd be fantastic if we can get some more local breweries involved in just getting homebrewers at a little bit larger level, getting into these breweries and just having a fun time. One of our local members, Nancy Knoll, has brewed with Six Rivers recently. And so just the support that a homebrew community gets from our local breweries is fantastic. And so thank you very much for being a part of this evening.
Oh, thank you. I'm honored to be a part of this. Hey, I really appreciate you folks having me. And if I tell you what, I really want to reach out to you folks. If there's anything you can do to just migrate your enthusiasm to this part of the country, that would be awesome, because we're dying up here when it comes to homebrew, and it's just not taking off.
Nice. Well, thanks, Rick. We've got a question from Christina or Hans. We don't know. It looks like Hans. He keeps raising his hand. Yeah, Hans.
I just want to say I absolutely love your beer.
Look at the hat.
Oh, sorry. Every time we ever go up there, we have to stop by, get beer, and get fat
And pretzels,
on a bunch of food. And I've never left there very sober or skinny.
We actually, I think, first came across it at the Oktoberfest event in Blue Lake.
Yeah.
That was the first time we ever tried the Porta Pints beers. And I think just like what you were talking about, the energy and the camaraderie that came from that booth and that table was palpable.
Yeah, I think I even stopped.
We went by and back so many times.
Yeah, because I stopped by the booth and asked questions, and that was when I was just starting to get into brewing, and everybody answered questions, and I was super stoked to have met them. I've met you.
Yeah.
Nice. I guess if I could ever put any advice out there, it was one of the guys that taught me a lot about brewing is Rob Bates at Reno Homebrewer. And I'd ask him some pretty technical questions, and he'd stop me and say, "You have been reading those books that I sell, and you're taking every bit of the fun out of homebrewing." Sometimes I just have to back up and go back to basics,
Yeah, I feel like everyone can admit to that. Pete, you've got a good question. What's up? I mean, I don't know if it's good or not, but it's Pete.
Rick, no, I think that's a great idea. I'm so glad you brought up the idea of possibly doing Pro-Am. I know there's people interested in that, but also I remember chatting with you a bit, and you just mentioned it a minute ago, but yeah, you had told me that kind of struggling with this the homebrew scene up there. There had been an active club for a bit, but that's not doing much right now, and that there's been a little bit of discussion in our club in the past about trying to do some collaborations with other clubs, and I think most of us here would be more than happy to try to do something to collaborate with homebrewers up there in Del Norte. And if you have any ideas or or want to, I think, it'd be fine to, if any of the homebrewers up there wanted to just join us for one of our monthly meetings while they're online. Even in the future, when we get back together in person, if somebody happens to be down this way, wants to come in and join a meeting, I think we'd be more than happy to have them. But I think it'd be good to try to figure out a way to collaborate, Humboldt homebrewers with homebrewers up there at some point in the future, whatever that might turn out to be.
Yeah, we reach out to Brookings as well, Brookings, Oregon, and try to pull people down. But I've been contemplating having just a small homebrew competition, maybe only I probably squeeze it into 10 categories. But one thing for sure, I've been watching these cannabis cups and things, and Best of Show's getting one of them MMA belts. That's a must.
Hey Rick, we are into it. If you want to collaborate with us, and if you have a specific vision, we have quite a bit of experience with running competitions, especially Matt Hodgson over there, our membership director currently. I think total we've probably done at least 10 pretty hefty competitions where we've had more than 30 entries over the last few years. I mean, since 2016 at least. So we've got the experience, we've got the know-how, we've got the drive to brew and want to brew and collaborate. So Rick, thank you for stepping in it, whether it was an intentional one or not, but we're going to be pursuing this. And I hope I speak for everyone else. I'm really excited to have a perceptive and receptive brewer. I mean, regardless of you being an hour away from most of us, shoot, that's easily dismissible when beer's involved. I mean, not drinking, driving, don't do that. But
Right.
Maybe we need to get a party bus involved. Who wrote that? Chrissy said group field trip.
Yeah, but I know if they do hops in Humboldt this year, which I'm hoping, we're thinking of having a bus come down from up here. I plan to bring a big game.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. And we'll be talking to Gabe, who organizes the Homebrew Festival. I haven't talked to him specifically this year, but it sounds like he might have written off this year as well. But he's still kind of hemming and hawing. So I might, talk to Gabe and see, how he's feeling. I haven't talked to him in 3 months. So I'll bring it up with him now just to see what the scene is like. But previously he was saying, if we can get an outdoor venue and, it's October or, he's like, a lot of people will be vaccinated. We'll see. But he didn't sound very hopeful. And considering we haven't started planning yet and it's already March, it may not happen this year. But the festival scene, I feel like it's how a lot of people get connected with the actual brewers. And Hoptoberfest is one of our favorites because they allow the homebrewers to have plenty of space right up front. And, from the beginning of Hoptoberfest, it has been, very involved with the local brewers. And we appreciate you being there and sharing your knowledge.
Thanks.
Thanks, Rick. Well, do we have any other questions from members before we let Rick go? Any other questions? I mean, Rick, you're going to be roped into these Facebook conversations. How would you like us to communicate with you? Would you like us to tag you in Facebook posts, or would you like us to, send you emails or phone call you or snail mail?
That's great. Yeah, usually, even if you got a question or something, just kind of give me an idea as to who you are and send me a text. It's fine. Or you could always send an email to portalpints@gmail.com.
All right, I'm gonna type that in the chat here so that it is remembered in memoriam. I mean, forever and ever, in perpetuity. Is my tongue twister. So you said it was portopints@gmail.com.
Got it.
That's PORTOPINTS@gmail.com. Nice. Yes. Well, rest in peace, your inbox, Rick. We've got questions. And I really appreciate your openness, especially regarding the business plan, divulging, because I might be the only, I hope I'm not the only one, but I've got a Google document for my business plan already. Whether it actually comes to fruition or not, it's probably like in your same hobbyhood.
It's actually kind of a great little thing to do. I mean, whether you ever end up opening a brewery, maybe you're going to open a different kind of business, and just the experience of going through it and keeping it up to date. I kept mine up to date for 6 years, and
Wow.
got to use it.
Hey, Rick, real quick. What'd you do before brewing?
Architecture. I project manage jobs mainly on the main 4 miles of the Las Vegas Strip. Interior architecture. My last job was city center.
Well, that's pretty sexy.
I don't know. I was pretty burned out. I had to start making beer where I could get a relief.
Gotcha. A lot of details in architecture.
Nice,
Well,
Rick.
cheers.
Well, hey,
Thank you, sir.
A lot of
yeah,
headaches.
everyone, if you're still drinking a beer, let's give Rick a nice warm send off. Cheers. Thank you for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. And you might be getting, really tired of high fives the next time we can all see you in person. Yeah. And just so you know, Rick, we may reach out to you for emails for some of the Orca brewers to, hopefully try to reach out to them and bring them into the fold, since we're all digital, shoot, why not?
Yeah, one numbers, he delivers propane for Suburban. And it's great for him because he drives around delivering gas, and all day long he's listening to homebrew podcasts.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've got many bugs in my ear at any given moment, whether I'm thinking or just listening on in the background. Thank you, Rick. I greatly appreciate it. Kenny.
I was going to say, I think there's at least one relatively active member of the Orca Club, and that's Steve Rook, if I remember his last name correctly. Yeah, he's an awesome fella, but he's also, if you look in your issues of Zymurgy, he's a published author of articles in Zymurgy. I think he's had a few, one recently, and really cool fella, brewing in he lives in an old school bus, I think, and he just brews like 1 or 2 gallon batches and just super simple and super basic. So look back on your Zymurgy.
He did that one article. Was it brewing in a schoolie?
So what's his name? Steve Zuck?
Steve Ruck.
Ruck. Yeah, if you ever see him passing through the pub, tell him the homebrewers want to talk to him.
Yeah, he'd be thrilled. He just lives a very simple life, and it does a lot of experimenting. He does some no boil beers. He does everything that you could imagine doing wrong, and turns out with some good beers somehow out of it.
I think he's pretty active on social media. I think he just posted something to the Orca page recently, so I'm sure that folks can find him. So
okay, well, I'm gonna go join the Orca Club.
He'd love
see if I can pull some people. Awesome. Well, thank you, Rick. We've got a few more things to cover. Just what's coming up in the future. If you want to stick around, thanks for sticking around. If not, it was great to have you, Rick. We look forward to high-fiving you. And
I'm gonna head out here, and we're closing up. But anytime one of you folks are in town, please come look me up. I love to talk beer all the time. So
thanks, Rick.
Awesome.
Much appreciated.
Thanks.
Okay. Thanks now. Bye.
Bye. All right. Well, that was exciting. Rick is such a warm guy. Like, I've just running into him at Hoptoberfest is honestly how I even heard about Porta Pints. So that's not too far off from a lot of your guys' stories, you know. So, and his encouragement for us to infiltrate and assimilate with Orca is not far from our, you know, philosophy anyway. So I think we should definitely, I definitely think that we should, you know, get into the Orca club. Kenny with the Mr. Beer. That is now his exclusive funky fermenting vessel. Well, let's see what else.
Can you show that again? I didn't see it.
Hold it up, Kenny. Here, I'll pin you. Yeah, look at that, Mr. Beer, Oxygen Ingress Central.
Kenny, do you just keep that out on the coffee table or?
Close. Our spare bedroom is like 5 foot up right over there, and that's I shouldn't say spare bedroom. It's now the brewing room, and it's on a shelf, on a coffee shelf. Yeah. So yeah, kind of.
Yeah, humble beginnings.
Huh, well, that's awesome because mine became a bong. It was 96.
Oh,
2 years
fuck.
ago.
It was an upgrade from an Apple, right?
I don't know. I got lung poisoning from it.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, yeah, do you guys have any feedback about how that went? You know, do you want to rehash anything?
Amazing. Can't wait to do a
Great
club
job.
collaboration with him. That'd be great. He's
Chris,
great.
I'd just like to say that I think you're really good at interviewing all of these guests. So well done.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I agree.
You did amazing.
I
You're
have
very
questions.
podcasty.
Oh, I know. One of my like monthly things I need to do is tell myself that I shouldn't start a podcast because I don't need another thing to do despite me
No,
having,
you need
know.
to change the light switch covers in your house because they don't match.
Dude, tell me about it, man.
Legit.
Yeah, Fazio, it sounds like you're coaching Matt through his life
Don't
right now
make me
too.
point down this one that's odd over here.
This one is off-white almond and not white. Anyway.
It's alabaster.
Dear God. Yeah, that's my life right now too.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, Matt just has a house. He just got moved in again.
Well, anyway, I'm grateful that you guys appreciate you know, having guest speakers on, and I like doing this. It's something that I really enjoy, and you know, sometimes I'm more, you know, focused on what the brewer wants versus what we want, and then sometimes it's kind of like, you know, the brewer just guides the entire story. Like Jared was pretty great at, you know, talking about himself and his beers and didn't need a whole lot of guidance, whereas, you know, some brewers you got to pull teeth to, you know, direct them in the right direction that you want the whole thing to go. But I'm glad you guys like it. Thank you. I appreciate feedback, whether positive or negative. You know, I hope my ums aren't disturbing you. All right. Well, let's get on to the next thing on our agenda. I'm going to share this really quick because we have less than 10 minutes to get going. Whoa, what happened here? All right, there we go. So we've got guest speaker done. Commercial calibration. Did anyone want to talk about commercial stouts? I'm willing to glaze over this. No. Okay. Well,
I would say that Abyss is probably my all-time favorite stout.
Which one?
Abyss.
Is that an imperial stout? Technically.
Well,
Is that a barrel-aged Firestone Walker?
typical Abyss is not barrel-aged.
Yeah, who makes that? Pete?
Deschutes.
Deschutes. Oh, guess what? Deschutes just acquired Boneyard.
What's as
Did
funny
y'all
is
hear
that
about that?
Boneyard came from Deschutes.
Yeah, I think that's the funniest part. And Jared was talking about Boneyard and Deschutes because that's where he got his start, was up there. So Jared from Jippo Ale Mill was saying, oh yeah, Boneyard. And Nancy was like, oh yeah, Boneyard. That's, you know, right in my backyard. I love that place. And, you know, it just goes to show, you know, there's a lot of back and forth with the commercial breweries, especially for liquidity. Yeah, Hans. Hans, I see you holding a few beers. Share, here, my glass is empty, I'm ready. Oof. Hans, Speedway Stout. Oh yeah, I saw this at the co-op the other day. Unmute yourself so I can hear you, Hans. You're not.
Yeah, I got those.
Yeah, Hans, your computer
good.
is unmuted, but I can't hear you through it. Anyway.
Sorry. Yeah, I just picked that up today. I saw it. I've never seen it before. I was wondering if anybody on the group has tried it.
No, I mean, they had a killer price point at the co-op, and AleSmith is from San Diego, and I've only had solid beers from them. I haven't had that
Is
one
the
yet.
regular
Though.
Speedway or the one-off?
I've had that one. Bevmo has them right now.
Oh yeah, the regular Speedway is awesome.
Imperial Stout with coffee.
12%.
Can you guys see it?
Holy
The
cow.
co-op also has, there's one with a special coffee and vanilla added. But the price point on that is amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and when did Rasputin start putting it in cans?
It happened about last
fairly
year.
Fairly
It's
recently.
the recycling revolution that's happening. Everyone's putting it into cans now, which is kind of awesome.
Cans are-
I wonder if we could get a brewer from
What's
North Coast.
recycling? I'm paying taxes. I ain't getting it back.
Being in Humboldt County, I don't know anymore. I
Yeah,
have to go
gosh.
like all the way to Oregon.
Yeah, let's
Or
not
Crescent.
bring that up. Okay, let's not get out too off topic. We're
All right,
almost
I'm out.
about to finish a meeting on time, guys. This is freaking unparalleled. I mean, this hasn't happened in a year. I guarantee
Ching.
it. All right, so commercial calibration, that's a dead horse. I love stouts. Yeah, they're delicious. What's bubbling? Okay, I do want to just share a little bit about my hazy discovery and what you shouldn't do for hopping. This was my 11th time brewing a hazy IPA. 11th time brewing the same recipe where I only changed one thing at a time. And
Hold on, time out. Can you get rid of the view?
Oh, shoot. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Thank
cool.
you. Thank you. I
And
appreciate that.
11 times a hazy?
11, I have brewed a hazy IPA, a hazy session IPA 11 times. So
How
I'm
did you
kind of,
afford a house brewing that 11 times?
well, they're 5-gallon batches.
Gee. Okay, so your car is in default for payment.
Yeah, Christina, what's up?
I'm just wondering how many were on purpose hazy and how
All
many
of
were
them.
not on purpose. Nice.
All
I always
of
forget
them-
to add Irish moss. So
Oh no, all of them were intentional. But one thing there are two things that I'm trying to nail down, and I hope someone can learn from it who's interested in this. The stability of the haze and how that relates to the bitterness. So the stability of the haze I was struggling with because I was just using flaked grains. I was using flaked oats, flaked wheat, and it would look beautiful. It wasn't too opaque, like you could still just barely see light through it. But I wasn't satisfied with that, seeing some of the commercial examples where it like straight up looks like orange juice, like it's opaque, it's bright, and yellow. It's beautiful in my opinion. I know it's not for everyone, but I wanted that permanent haze. So I finally tried out malted oats. So this is not something that I had even, anticipated trying, but I did malted oats in the same vein of what I did for flaked. And I used no flaked malts whatsoever. And it was super duper opaque. Like you couldn't see through it, just using malted oats. And I used 2 pounds for a 5-gallon batch. I was super impressed with that, but then I got that right. And then I was like, oh, well, now that I have more haze suspension, I can throw more hops in it. Don't ever double the amount of hops that you typically throw in a beer and expect it to be better. Don't ever do it. I think in this batch, I used a total of 6 ounces of hops for a 5-gallon batch. And all of that was below the temperature of 180. You will still get bitterness below temperatures of 180. All of my hops went into the whirlpool and it still ended up way more bitter than I anticipated, and it got more bitter. This is the crazy part to me. It got more bitter as the beer settled in the keg. And I didn't keg hop. This was like with clarity. I mean, where it like actually dropped out of suspension, and I've been cold crashing it for lagering, AKA it's been in my keg right. I've been drinking it for 2 full weeks now, and it is getting more bitter. But it's not changing in color. It's strange. Just wanted to provide that as a talking point because some people are curious about it. Fazio.
You changed your malt, your oatmeal malt. What did you change your malt from?
From flaked oats to malted oats.
So where can you buy malted oats?
What do you mean where can you buy them? Or you mean what they're called?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, they're just called malted oats. I think Viking makes them. Kenny probably has them. For all I know, Kennedy, I don't know.
So my point being is that you can probably go to Winco and buy a bunch of malted oats that are in bulk, well, back in the day, and they're basically pre-gelatinized oats, correct?
Yes, they are pre-gelatinized, but those are flaked oats. They are not malted. So malted oats usually have malt barley added to them. If you buy it at a grocery store, almost all of them have malt barley in with them. If it says malt, 90% of the time it's malted barley.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. But malted barley doesn't give you the high protein content that malted oats does. Because malted oats have almost twice as much protein as barley does.
So they're not gluten friendly at all.
No, heck no. Heck no.
Gotcha.
Heck no. Christina.
So I recently had a beer that poured out from Chetco Brewing Company, an hazy IPA that I took a picture of, and Matt commented, is that a milkshake IPA? It was so hazy, and he used the same procedure you're using, and he says it suspends forever.
Yeah.
Even in the keg. So much protein. And I joked with him because they have at the Chetco Brewing Company in Brookings, Oregon, they have a vegan wagon pull up, which is pretty much low gluten and as well. And this beer, they have a little disclaimer on it that says not low gluten. And it cracks me up. So, but bring it up. It's like 1 month. Anyways, way to go. You got a hazy ass fucking beer, I guess. So
yeah, I'm proud of it.
Kenny has something. I'm just blabbing on here. So
well, Christina had her hand raised first, so I'm gonna go to Christina and then we'll go to Kenny.
Kenny can go ahead.
Hang on. Wait, there we go.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, I got it. So yeah, malted oats are. I think you also get diastatic power from the malted oats since they're malted. Anything flaked is not malted, which essentially means sprouted. Most flake products are going to be what's called pre-gelatinized. So essentially, they take the unmalted grain kernel and roll it through hot rollers to not only squish it, but to essentially pre-cook it. So anything flaked is not going to be malted and is not going to have diastatic power. So it's not going to have the enzymes to convert the starches into sugars. My understanding is that malted oats or oat malt does have diastatic power. I think you are correct, Chris, in that the proteins from that malted oat do stay in suspension a lot better than the pre-gelatinized flaked oats or flaked wheat or whatever y'all are, whatever is being used at that point. Malted oats are available locally. So that should answer at least one question.
Yeah, and one thing that I found interesting, so when I started using flaked oats, I noticed that if I looked at a recipe that I built up on Beersmith, it would always be converting less efficiently. So I would always, be undershooting my gravities. And I thought, oh, since I'm moving to malted oats, my efficiencies are going to go up. It didn't change a damn thing. Like I hit the same numbers, the same efficiency that I was doing previously. So the diastatic power the diastatic power of the 2-row was strong enough to convert the gelatinized proteins, starches, but having it be malted didn't increase my alcohol any. So let that be a lesson that I learned myself, but I wasn't changing anything in my process. But it's really cool to be able to brew the same recipe over and over again to see what these little incremental changes do. And I highly recommend it to anyone. If anyone wants a recipe, reach out to me, let me know. I'll shoot it your way. It is a work of labor and love and tears and lots of beers. So anyway, that's what's bubbling for me. Is anyone else excited about what they're brewing? Anyone? Fazio's drinking, but is he brewing?
I am brewing.
Yeah.
And so is Caitlin. But real quick, I am Go ahead, Caitlin.
I took the day off tomorrow to brew an alt beer. So
nice.
Brewing will happen soon tomorrow.
Nice. So I am actually taking a creative twist. My neighbor is a big time. She's a pseudo professional baker, and she brought over a rye cocoa nib sourdough loaf to our house about a month ago. And I figured it tasted so good in the toaster. Why can't I make a beer out of it? So I went to Ken and we got some rye, I got cocoa nibs, and I'm gonna try to brew a brown loaf of bread is what I'm trying to brew. So that's kind of what's going in my fermenter this weekend. So I'm pretty pumped on that.
Nice. Wow. Are you gonna try to achieve that bready character as well?
I'm going to go with the more on the, because her bread was very well cooked on the outside, kind of had that bagel action, soft on the inside with a lot of texture on the outside with a little bit of roast flavor. And I think that was just because of the way she baked it. It was very dark on the outside and it had a lot of good roast flavor to it, but I don't want it to be overpowering. So it's going to be interesting.
Nice.
But definitely she used cocoa nibs from Dick Taylor's, and there was chunks in her bread, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I agree, Talvi. Now I'm hungry and thirsty. And I want to eat that beer and drink that bread. Awesome. I think I'm going to dip my toes into sours, co-pitched sours. I really want to get one of those going. And I still have dregs from a sour beer that I brewed a year ago. No, actually, you know what this is? The Barrel Flanders Red, which was the last beer that was put through the Barrel Project. I saved the dregs from the kegging of that, and I put that into a really light beer, which I then hopped after I took it off the dregs, and I still have a 5-gallon keg with the dregs and some old beer on top of it. So I'm thinking about just, brewing a batch and tossing it on there because I smelt it and it smells just fine and it tastes just fine. So I'm excited. All right. Well, I'm sorry.
Does anybody else have that old whatever red you brewed on tap? I have a 5-gallon still in a fermenter.
Are you kidding me?
Nope. It was so vinegar tasting that I just kept feeding it. Every time I brewed a beer, I had 4 gallons to start with, and now it's up to like the neck. And so I probably fed it 5 times in the last 5 years. And I tasted it like a month ago, and it tastes pretty damn good.
Oh, so it's not just straight acidic vinegar?
Oh, dude, it was pretty much like enamel eraser acetic like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever it was. And now it's not so bad.
Got more fun.
So I'm ready to probably keg it and blend it is what I'm going to go on. So I'm wondering, oh, a lot of hands, but I just left it alone and just kept feeding it. But anyways, I still got that beer.
Damn, Fazio.
Christina, you have a question?
Are you going to save that for Strange Brew? Because it has quite the story.
I have no idea. I don't know, because it might be the greatest beer never known, or the greatest beer we blew through in one weekend. So
that's a great title.
I know. So I'm terrified and surprised all at the same time. So I don't know. I got a lot of beers. I got a lot of beers hiding in the closet.
Oh my God. Well, I love that some of you can hold on to beers rather than drink them all, because I don't have that self-control.
How do you live so fat but be so skinny?
Stomach ulcers, exercise, anxiety, the standard. Just no, it's called moving a lot, unfortunately. Anyway, I think we're ready to wrap up what's bubbling. Are we raffle ready?
One more.
Okay,
please.
Talby. Yeah, Talby.
One of my friends who worked on this and cued me into it. It's a Otis Space, and it's Otis Space. It's a perfume made to smell like outer space, and it was a Kickstarter about a year ago, and I got really stoked on it. It is distilling and not brewing. But I for any of the teachers or people with kids out there who want to smell like what space wants, like they want to smell what space smells like, you can borrow this. Please give it back, because I feel like there's quite a few people who want to use it. But it is made with the input from NASA scientists and all that. And I recommend don't put it on you because I did for a night, and it was not good, but I thought it was really cool. And so I got it because I couldn't help myself, because space is a big thing for me. Though it is distilling and not brewing, but I do want to put it out there that if you want to know what space smells like, this is an option. And it's available, and I'm going to consider this one of the membership perks, that you can borrow this as a member of the Humboldt Homebrewers to smell or what space smells like. And this has been input from several people from multiple groups, not just NASA, but from also different countries and scientists from there, about what does it smell like if you're in outer space. And that's what it smells like. Do not put it on yourself. I did. Really bad idea. But just want to offer that out there because it's really cool.
Member perk. As a member of the Humboldt Homebrewers, you too can smell space as perceived by all the astronauts who've gone there. Thank you, Talby, for sharing. Matt, are we ready for a raffle now? Sorry, we almost made it, but we're just having so much fun talking about beer and random stuff.
I mean, if people want to raffle, then we should raffle.
Yeah,
do the people want raffle? Do we want raffle? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a member, so I'm peacing out. Love you guys.
So you're gonna not watch people win prizes? What the fuck, dude?
I'm just gonna go to your house and drink your beer.
I don't have any beer left.
I'll watch. I'm cool.
All right, bro, drink it all.
The same people.
I will be unmuted the whole time.
All right. So, anyways,
what?
Fazio, mute yourself.
No.
We're gonna raffle some stuff. I will mute you then. I will Chris mute him. I don't have the power this time. Damn it. Oh well. I'll smack you the next time I see you, which will be in a couple minutes apparently. Well, okay. So last month we had 3 items for raffle. We raffled off a couple of those, and now we still have a corny keg hop. What do you call this thing? It's a hop filter, dry hopping filter for the corny keg. And then we also have the 3-gallon Fur Monster, I believe it's called. So it's a a 3-gallon fermenter with a little spigot down at the bottom. Pretty cool stuff. As always, I have entered people's names who are members, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen for transparency, obviously, because
Matt won last time. Watch him really close, everyone.
I will. I'm more than
Just
happy to
kidding.
take my own name out. And Chris, you're gonna have to let me share my screen because you have disabled screen sharing.
Yeah, well, I didn't want everyone to show some exciting.
I understand. I understand that.
Okay, you're up.
Okay. All right. Okay. So here's the wheel. You guys all went away. I hate how this works.
Oh,
Where did everybody go?
We can see it though. It doesn't matter.
All right. Well, we'll just. So I'm pretty sure there was 10 of us. Well, no. Anyways, yeah. So no Kenny, no Fazio. So first we will raffle off the Fur Monster. So here we go. Ah. Hans. Oh, Hans.
All right.
The Fur Monster. Okay, so we'll remove you down to 8 for the dry hopping Cornelius stainless thing. No. Yes. Yay. All right. Ben, congratulations. So just for clarity, this is the thing that Ben won right here.
Yeah, I love those. They're great for keg hopping.
And then, oh no, now you see all my various sundry. And this
saw
is
it,
the 3-gallon Fur Monster.
All right. And where can these winners pick up their prizes?
These winners can pick up their prizes at Humboldt Beer Works as long as Kenny is still agreeable to that. Otherwise, I can pick them up and keep them and people can contact me. Kenny.
So yes, the prizes are available for pickup at the Humboldt Beer Works. And as a quick reminder for those that haven't picked up what they won last month, i.e. Talvi, there is a date at which that kit will not be good for. It's got.
What is it? I'll talk to you. I'll stop it. My apologies for not stopping you. I'll stop it. Chat.
Those that have won prizes, they are available for pickup at the shop. If you need to arrange other pickup options or whatever, we can talk about that offline. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Kenny, for being a willing sponsor to this club member raffle. Pete, it looks like you have your hand up very still.
I was just going to point out there's still some Jippo beer left from last month, I believe. So if anybody on tonight didn't get one, Matt,
where is this beer?
Yeah, where do we pick
Hans
up?
has-
Where do me and Matt
There
pick
are
up?
5 bottles or cans left.
Man,
that
I've
are-
been there like 2 or 3 times since this happened, I think, and didn't know.
I can
That's
put
not your
them in-
fault.
A
No, it's not-
Jippo?
it's not your fault.
Or
I can put them in the file cabinet. And you guys can
we
pick
we
them
also
up.
discussed online that some of them could be used as a raffle.
Which
feel
I
like
also
the
think
best
is
thing
fun.
for us all is stop by the shop.
All right. Everyone mute yourself. Thank you. We're gonna go one at a time here because that was a cacophony. Matt, you had said.
I'm fine with grabbing one or keeping it
so
for raffle. I don't really care. It's fine.
Has
Either way.
anyone here who's in this meeting now not gotten one of the Jippo beers in a can? Raise your hand if you have not had a Jippo beer in a can. Christina.
So that's 3 people.
Let's see. Hold your hands up. So there's Matt, Talvi, Ben, Jay. You don't count because you didn't pay dues.
Jay, pay your due. I'll pay his dues
don't
for
love
him if
us.
he doesn't do it. I've got Jason.
He's a grown ass man. No.
Yeah, but
I'm
sometimes
just kidding.
he's a
Kidding.
little assist. I'll pay his dues. I'll pay it when I come in to get my fucking. Can you delete that from the recording when I get my
Nope.
cracking?
Kenny, you're next. Go on.
So for quick clarification, the shop is not a drop-off point for paying the club dues. I would suggest utilizing the club's online payment platform. And if I remember correctly, doesn't March mean that dues are prorated? So dues are half of what they normally are? What? Can somebody tell me about that?
Oh, Mr. Membership Director?
Yeah, they're half price, but it doesn't apply to Fazio's.
It's double for Fazio.
Double for Fazio's.
I'll pay double as long as you pay double to the Discovery Museum.
We will always pay our dues to the Discovery Museum. 100,000 times.
Triple?
Well, I think we did this year.
You guys did a great job. I'm not complaining.
I know.
Lazy.
I think this should be a perpetual thing, and we're working on that. Appreciate you, Faz, and appreciate your partner too. She's done an amazing job. She really has.
Well, I'm alive.
All right, so we had 3 people who did not pick up beers, and that is Talvi, Matt, and Ben, correct? So Talvi, Matt, and Ben, would you 3 like to go to Christina and Hans's house to pick up those beers? Yes or no?
Totally.
Okay, so I say you 3, since you missed out last month, go get them. You haven't had them, you're dues paying members, you're kind of entitled to them, and you're active. So if you can go and pick them up, go pick them up.
There's a topic I want to bring up during happy hour that
Cool.
I think could be pertinent to all of this and help us all out. So once we get to that topic, I think it would help everybody out a little bit.
Okay.
Me and Chrissy talked about it earlier in the month, or last month.
Okay, we'll get there. So that means there are 2 beers left, correct? Right, Christina? So can we raffle those 2 beers off right now? Matt?
I suppose we could, sure.
I mean, drink them while they're fresh. Might as well,
I have to
right?
find my wheel again. I just closed the wheel. No, it's all good. Command Shift T brings it all back,
While Matt's bringing that back up, I just thought I'd jump in with a fun little fact that I decided to look up when Mr. Beer came out because I was curious, like, when did that come out compared to when I started brewing? It came out in 1993 when I started brewing, which is why I didn't start with Mr. Beer. We started in the same year.
All right, and the winner of the beer is
in on this one.
How convenient. Kenny, what's up?
Am I eligible for this raffle?
Oh
yeah,
shoot.
heck yeah.
Sorry.
Respin it. Never mind, Caitlin. I mean, Christina, you didn't win yet.
I'll take myself out of the raffle.
Get you back in here. Oh, really?
Yeah, give Kenny an extra shot.
Whew. I'll take myself out as well. All right, no more outs. The wheel has spoken in volumes.
All right, Christina, crack one of those beers.
All right, so we have one more. Is that correct?
One more.
Aha!
And Kenny gets a beer. Yeah, there you go, Kenny. Good job throwing yourself into the ring. If you don't advocate for yourself, who will? Good job. Awesome. Thank you, Matt, for finding that great little website.
Sure.
Christina, you have a question or an answer?
Chrissy, did you get to try one? Should I leave one in the file cabinet for you?
I think I did.
Okay.
I cannot remember. Was that last month?
It was a
That was
Pilsner.
last month.
Yeah.
And I don't remember you cracking one, so I wanted to offer.
I think I did. Thank you, though.
Sure.
I mean, I'll take another one, but
I'll leave it in the file cabinet then.
I know we're about to go into the really fun parts and things, which I love the most. Though I do want to point out that Pete brought in a good point of I have to look it up now. No, I'm kidding. He brought in a really great point of just I'm gonna
Yes,
look at
Salvi,
his
finish a
words.
sentence.
I will. He said it and then gosh darn it. Well, it's
Was
late
it
at
about
night.
was it about Mr. Beer coming out in '93?
No, but I do like the history aspect of things, and I think we should. That was the point. Thank you. And Pete brought it up. Thank you. I think having a select portion, a 3-minute segment of the history of beer, bringing back that cellar master aspect, we don't really have that right now. And I think bringing back that cellar master aspect is a really important part of what we are as a club. Having an expert or just somebody who spent the time researching those things to talk about them, even just for 2 to 3 minutes, is really important. And Pete was a very important part of the live action club. And I feel like I miss his voice as that cellar master. Like, have we allowed the cellar master to speak lately? Like, we haven't. I was hoping for like Scottish ales this month or things like that. And I know this may not be the time because we're not at the end of
Well, if you'll allow it, Pete would like to speak.
Cool. I'd love for him to.
I appreciate that thought, and I've also thought a little bit about that over the last month, and I realized having the guest brewers on sort of takes the place. I mean, we've been talking to them generally for at least 45 minutes. I think tonight's was one of the shorter ones, really, at 40 minutes. So, but no, I think, you know, Hans and I talked about that a little bit, about the idea of bringing in like more historic aspects of brewing, and it would be good to add that in when we have time.
I know. I think
Yeah.
it'd be great if you guys had a 3 to 5 minute segment or something, just a quick historic brewing aspect. And I mean, it is the month of Scots or Big Irish or whatever. And I know there are many members of this club that have a lot to say on it. So I think offering that opportunity would be great.
Thanks, Salvi. Yeah, most of it is just being pinched for time, and you know, Pete does have quite a hand in curating the guests. Pete's done great to get Jared in, or I don't know who got Jared in, if it was Matt or Pete, but I'm pretty sure Pete has been, you know, a driving force for getting these guest speakers in, whether he's the one interviewing them or not. Sorry if I just commandeered the whole thing. But anyway, yeah, I mean, commercial calibration is a big part, or it is a part of our, you know, typical monthly meeting. But if we're trying to curate beers from the people that we're bringing in, you know, I feel like that's a little more important than, you know, curating a historical style for the month. And we are just finally catching our stride for, you know, cramming all of the stuff that we want to do into a not long enough portion of time, apparently, because it's now approaching 9:30 and I want to wrap this up. So with that being said, Talvi, thank you for bringing it up. If I hope you're a squeaky wheel, so if you desperately want to talk about historical beers, you know, I leave portions of the meeting open to people who want to add things to the agenda, and usually I do ask, hey, what else am I forgetting in the agenda? Pretty much every month. So that would be a great time to bring it up. Talvi, what?
I forgot. I didn't realize that I hit my button. We have one more thing to bring up.
Yes, we do. We actually have 2 more things to bring up.
Okay.
Yes, we're getting there. Okay, thank you, Talvi. Yes, we're getting there. So the next thing is future meetings and guests, and you know, the date of that. So next month we have lined up Dylan from Powers Creek Brewing Company. They're based out of Blue Lake Casino. Dylan's the previous brewmaster at Mad River, and he's really excited to be talking about the new brewery and, you know, all the beers that he's got coming down. Pete, you've been in contact with him. It sounds like we're 2 thumbs up for next month, right? From what I mean, from what I read.
Yes, and by email, he said for his schedule, it's best at 7. So we'll, you know.
Okay. Let's keep that in mind for when we're packing the agenda for next month. Is, you know, keep that time for Dylan at the start. And their beers, so Talvi, I hope you can hear me. Their beers are available in a growler from the brewery, I mean, from the casino, and they actually have a counter pressure filler. So that means it can actually stay in the growler longer without having potential oxygen ingress. So that's exciting. So what I'm hoping to do is, you know, communicate with Dylan and be like, hey, is there any beer that you guys are going to have on tap to, you know, hopefully push our members towards going to get, so that we could talk specifically about that beer as a commercial calibration for that month. Pete, I think you said sure, right? I didn't hear what you said, Pete. Go ahead.
What did you say?
Okay, there we go. Now I can hear you. I was saying that, you know, it'd be great for us to reach out to Dylan to say, you know, hey, what beer do you have on tap right now that you would love to talk about during our meeting, and then push that as our commercial calibration for the next month.
That's a good idea.
Cool.
We'll try to get on that by the middle of the month, so there's some time.
Yes, it might be worth it for us to start communicating with him now to say like, hey, what do you have coming out in your pipeline that's going to hit the taps, so that, you know, we have ample time to get it and we're not worried about, you know, floating the keg, so to speak.
Yeah, I'll email him tomorrow and
Perfect.
see what he suggests.
Thanks, Pete. Cool. So that is our next meeting's guest, which is going to be April. Holy moly, we're in April already. That'll be April 1st. The first Thursday of the month is the 1st for next month. That's going to be crazy. Interesting. Tavi, you look like you are, you know, dying to say something.
I was just like, oh no. Oh no, it's the first. The first Thursday of the month is the 1st.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
And I mean, we'll all still be there, but that's a lot of promo. I will keep that in mind and realize that before the end of the month that everybody has to step up. And instead of like this month, it was actually kind of lucky because we had a full kind of almost a week and a half to really get things out there. Next month, we literally have to do it before the end of the month.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I have set a Google Calendar reminder. I don't know if anyone else gets that, but I set it for 2 weeks before this meeting. If you have the calendar synced on your phone, I get that notification 2 weeks ahead of time for me to kick my butt into gear and remind everyone what we need to be, you know, thinking about and getting our ducks in a row. So I hope that anyone else finds that useful other than me. All right, so in addition to April 1st, our next happy hour is coming up this month, and that is the 3rd Tuesday, which is Tuesday, March 16th at 6:30 p.m. Before we get going, Talvi, I want to open it to Christina, who is the host of our happy hour.
So I just want to say that we had some technical difficulties with the first one, but we will start on time. So it was really nice to have a few people there that kind of tuned in. I was really new at running a Zoom meeting. I spend a lot of time educating our physicians at St. Joe about how to host a Zoom meeting. And I've never done it actually myself. So I was brand new at it. I'm hoping this time that a few people that I probably should have been able to add to the meeting that we're trying to log into it I shouldn't have that issue this time. So I apologize in advance for any sort of technical difficulties that I had with last meeting, but please join again.
All right, Talvi.
Okay, one, Christina, you don't owe an apology because you were trying to help people and they weren't capable of logging on and you stepped in to help them. And therefore you are absolutely astounding. Chrissy and I had a little we had a little sesh, which was wonderful. And it would be nice if we could say there's a place called the Social Club out on Samoa where everybody could get their own fire pits. And there is connectivity to the internet. And there are several places like this in Humboldt County. And I just want to propose that we start trying to integrate social interactions again into the club, even if it's just for an hour or so, especially during happy hour. And I know there are different areas where if you go to the social club out on Samoa, we can each get our own fire pits. We can still do the Zoom call. I think that would be wonderful. There are other places as well that you can do this from. And I think it would be nice to showcase that we are forward thinking in that, yes, we do have to continue to integrate with society while also following protocol. And I'd like to put that out there, that maybe we can be social and still be at the same venue while still being socially distanced until we can all hug again. If that makes sense.
Bye, Ben. Good to see you.
Hi, Ben. So I'd like to propose that for the next happy hour, that we not only do a Zoom thing, but we also propose a location aspect to do both at the same time.
Talvi, we hear you. Kenny's got some input on this. I assume
Cool.
it's on this.
So I think the happy hour is a great thing. The digital happy hour allows us to be in different spots because not everybody can drive to or ride a bike to or teletransport to a certain location at a certain time. A lot of us, and I'm speaking for myself specifically, I know others tend to work 5:30, 6:30, 7 o'clock, even past that certain nights. And so I do understand that traditional happy hour in bars starts at 4 to 6 or something like that. I think the 6:30 start time is kind of on the skinny end of a lot of folks that work and need to travel to get to a spot. I think it's a great idea, Talvi, to maybe get a few members together to be in one location to socially distance and do a Zoom meeting that way. I'm just not seeing the feasibility of everybody getting together at a certain time at a certain place. We've already had enough challenges trying to get everybody located into one meeting per month, and now we're trying to expand back into the happy hour. I think it's a great idea. Move forward with that, absolutely. If you and Chrissy want to spearhead a small group of folks going over to the social club and Zoom from there, that's awesome. Unfortunately, I don't think I personally can make it. However, one thing that I would suggest for publicity standpoint would be to utilize free listings such as on Loco Lowdown. The club does have an account on Lost Coast Outpost to do Loco Lowdown, as well as North Coast Journal Calendar. That would be a good way to encourage folks from outside of the club that may not necessarily see the Facebook posts or Instagram posts if we ever start using that platform again. It would be another way to encourage public members from outside of our environs to be a part of the group and enjoy some, drink time with us. So I absolutely encourage that, Talvi, but I think there are other avenues as well.
I agree completely that there are a multitude of avenues of how to join in to the next happy hour. We are specifically talking about the next happy hour.
All right,
not
Talvi, I'm gonna leave this
another
conversation
avenue.
to continue online, not in this meeting, because I feel like the people who are in here have heard what you've had to say, and if they're gonna join, they're gonna join or reach out to you. So I'd say push this online if you would
Alternative
really
thoughts
like
offer, but
to.
for
It
sure.
doesn't necessarily
We
require
can
a
direct elsewhere.
movement. It doesn't require a motion or anything like that. This is just happy hour. You know, you do it from wherever you want.
There's no
Yeah.
emotions, only logic. And I think a lot of the logical factors are here.
No, I
but
didn't say
don't worry.
emotions. I said motion, like a motion
Oh,
of.
gosh. Me and Kenneth will hash it out when I go pick up my stuff.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
I'm
I
leaving it
can't
open.
wait.
Y'all can Zoom from
I enjoy
wherever
it.
you want, but the happy hour is going to maintain on Zoom so more people can Zoom into it. Christina, reach out to me if you need any help for this coming happy hour. I'll be happy to help. Yeah, other than that, that's it for tonight, guys and gals. Sorry. All right, that's the end of business. I'm going to stop the recording.